You're trying to get back to your old self, and that's exactly what's keeping you stuck. Imagine you sit down with your morning coffee, something feels different, you wrap your hands around the mug, and you just sit there because you're used to this time of day having a shape, a rhythm. Maybe you've looked at your watch, calculating the hours before it was the school pickup time. Or if your kid has already been driving, then you're remembering the door flying open and him or her coming through the entrance and the backpack hitting whatever surface it could find first. And the noise and the chaos and the neededness of it all. And now you're just looking around, maybe scrolling mindlessly, and it's just quiet. You take a slow breath in, and a voice that's maybe just above a whisper says, "What now?" If that's where you are, stay right here with me. That feeling isn't random. It's actually pointing you somewhere. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where by walking you through two things most empty nesters get completely wrong about this moment. Because understanding what's actually happening changes everything. I'm Clara May, Life Transitions Coach and author of Your Life Transition Toolkit, a book I wrote specifically for women navigating exactly what you're feeling right now. And I'm also a woman navigating the empty nest right alongside you. In this video, I'm going to walk you through two of the biggest misconceptions empty nesters have about what we're going to call the identity crisis and what's actually true instead. Because getting this right is what changes your perspective. Here's the first thing I hear all the time from women in the empty nest transition. It's not always dramatic. It doesn't always sound like a crisis. It sounds more like, "I just don't feel like myself lately," or "I'm exhausted, but I can't seem to rest no matter what I do." Women I work with can't always put their finger on what's wrong. They just feel off, like they can't quite land anywhere. And under all that tiredness, if you get really quiet, there's often something even harder to say out loud, something that almost feels too vulnerable to admit. "I don't know who I am right now. I feel lost." And here's what I want you to know. This feeling, first of all, is real. I'm not going to tell you that you're not disoriented. You are. But here's where the myth comes in. It's not the feeling that's wrong. It's the meaning you're attaching to it. You think the disorientation means you're lost. But what it actually means is that you're in a transition. And those are two very different things. You haven't lost yourself. You are in between two selves. There's the self you've known, the mom self, the one who knew pretty much what her days were going to look like. And then there's the self that's starting to emerge once you haven't fully met her yet. And right now, you're standing in the gap between those two versions of yourself. It's disorienting. Of course it is. But it's not the same as being lost. So I was having these feelings. I'm right there with you. I just happened to look at my manuscript, and it just helped me to remind myself that I wasn't feeling lost. I was exactly where I was supposed to be in this life transition map. I was just the gap between my two selves. Now that you understand you're not lost, you're between two selves, here's where most women go next. It's the move that takes the longest. The second thing I hear from women in the empty nest transition, the one that keeps them stuck, is "I just want to feel like myself again." And what she means underneath is, "I want to find the self I had before all this, before being mom." But here's what I want you to understand. For many of us, there actually wasn't a fully formed self waiting back to return to. We went from daughter to student to wife to mom, sometimes adding a career in there too, without ever really stopping to ask, Who am I underneath all these roles? The roles just accumulated and we wore them well. We found meaning and purpose and identity in them, hopefully, but they were always roles. And now that one of the biggest roles is shifting, maybe the most important one, the mom role, the daily active mom role. And we're suddenly faced with this question we have never really faced before. Who am I now when nobody needs me? And that question can feel terrifying. But I want to offer you a reframe. This transition is not asking you to go backwards. It's asking you to go inward. And that's actually how you go forward. Remember that moment I told you I was sitting with my manuscripts, getting some validation about where I was and everything is to be expected? Well, it was also showing me something else too. It made me realize that I also needed to reach inward. And in my own wisdom, things I had written but hadn't yet fully lived. And that inward turn, that quiet sitting with myself, is what pointed me forward. That's what this transition is inviting you to do. Not to find some prior version of yourself that you might not even relate to much anyway, but to uncover what the roles had been covering all along. She's been there all along. You just haven't had the space to hear her yet. And if you want to go deeper on navigating this, the identity, the emotions, the uncertainty of what comes next, like I said, I wrote an entire book about this, your life transition toolkit, how to weather what comes and embrace what's next. It comes out September 15th. And I would love for you to be one of the first to know when it's available. Head to claramay.com/book and sign up for the waitlist. The link is in the description. But I've got one more thing. Once you start moving in that direction forward, the next question that comes up for almost every woman that I talk to is forward into what exactly? Because the road ahead isn't always clear. And learning to move forward when you can't see the whole road is exactly what we're going to be talking about in the next video. It's right here on your screen right now. See you there.